So, welcome. Last lesson we looked at the the slope-intercept form of a line, the y equals mx plus b form. And today, in Math 10C, Functions and Relations, we're going to look at the general form of the line. Now, the general form of an equation for a linear relation is ax plus by plus c equals 0, where a is a whole number, so you have to have a whole number, and it is not negative, so that makes a difference when you're rearranging these equations. And b and c are integers, and they can be negative, okay? They can also, so they can be negative. C can also be 0. Thank you. Okay, so what we're basically doing to start is we're taking our y equals mx plus b form, our slope-intercept form, and other forms of the line, and we're just going to do some rearranging and put them in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. So, first thing we want to do is we want the term in front of the x to be a whole number, and we want it to be positive. So let's deal with the whole number part. We want, what do we multiply to make negative 2/3 a whole number? Well, first of all, we're going to multiply all terms by 3. If we do that, we can divide out the 3 on the bottom. So we're going to go y times 3 minus or equals negative 2/3 x times 3 plus 4 times 3. So when we multiply that, we get 3y is equal to, here, this 3 and that 3 will divide out. So we'll get negative 2x plus 12. Now, this is because the fractions will cancel out here. Now, remember it says here that a is a whole number and it is not negative. So we're going to move the 2x over to the other side, and we're also going to move the 12 over, but we'll do that in the next step. So we're going to add 2x to this side and to this side. On this side here, it will subtract out. And so we're going to get 3y plus 2x equals 12. And now we're going to subtract 12 from both sides, because we want it to get this equals 0 over here. Okay, so when we do that, we get 3y plus 2x minus 12 equals 0. Now, one last step, we want to put it in that order, ax plus bx plus c equals 0. So we're just going to rearrange it. So we'll put the 2x first, plus 3y minus 12 equals 0. And I like a little box to tell me where the answer is. Okay, so now we look at it, double check, is it in that form? Yes, it is. Some of these are more complicated than others. Some of them are fairly straightforward, but a lot of it is just using your rearranging skills and trying to move things into that form. Okay, so let's look at this next one. So, and I'm just going to make it bigger because it helps me when I do my work. So here we have a fraction. We've got 5, so we're going to multiply everything by 5 to get rid of that fraction. So here we'll have 5y minus 5. I've multiplied this and these two by 5. And here we're going to have 3/5 times 5. Leave your x plus 2 in the brackets for now, then you don't have to do anything with them. These 5s will cancel out. So I'll be left with 5y minus 5 is equal to 3 times x plus 2. Now I'm going to distribute this 3, multiply everything in the brackets by 3. So I get 5y minus 5 is equal to 3x plus 2. Now I want to move everything over to one side. Now 3, the 3 in front of the x is positive already, so we're going to leave it on that side because if we remember from our instructions, we want that whole number for a to be a positive number. So I am going to move everything over to that side, so we'll put a 0 here. 3x, 5y is positive on this side, so it'll be negative 5y on the opposite side. Plus 2 is there, and this negative 5 will become plus 5 on this side. So just doing a little combining of like terms. Now, it doesn't matter which side the 0 is on, that's still in general form as long as that is a positive whole number in front of the x. Okay? Let's look up this one here. Now you're noticing all these have fractions. The first step is going to be always, and I'm going to put that in blue, or maybe we'll put it in black. First step, get rid of fractions. Second, make a positive. And then the third is make one side equal to 0, while maintaining that a is positive. Okay, so let's look at this next one. I'm going to just give myself a little more space. Okay. First thing I want to do is get rid of the fractions. So I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So I'm going to have 4 times y, which is 4y. And then I'm going to have negative 1/4 times 4x plus 3 times 4. So as long as I do the same thing to each term, I'm not changing the equation. These 4's will divide out. So I have 4y is equal to negative x plus 12. Now, this x is negative, so we're going to move it to the other side to make it positive. So I'll get 4y plus x. And then if I move this 12 over, it'll become minus 12, which is equal to 0. I just want to change the order, put my x there, plus 4y minus 12 equals 0. Now, a, we didn't write it in, but there is a little invisible 1 there. So a would be equal to 1, but we don't always have to write those 1's in. Mathematicians can be lazy. So it would be correct without that. Okay, now let's look at this last one. First step is to get rid of the fractions. So we're going to do that. So we're going to multiply everything by 2. So I'm going to have 2y plus 4 is equal to 3 over 2 times 2x minus 4. Now I divide out these. So I have 2y plus 4 is equal to 3x minus 4. Now I want to distribute that 3 to everything in the brackets. So then I have 2y plus 4 equals 3x minus 12. Now x on this side is positive, so I'm going to move everything over to that side. So I'll get 0 is equal to 3x. When I move this 2y over, it'll become minus 2y. Minus 12 minus 4, because I move this 4 over and it becomes minus 4. So I'll get 3x minus 2y minus 16. And put it in a box like a present for your teacher. So again, those steps are get rid of the fractions, make a positive, and make one side equal to 0. So if we have, so it's important to remember that we can have ax plus by plus c equals 0, or we can have 0 is equal to ax plus by plus c. They are both different ways of arranging the general form, and they're both correct. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the next page. So, so we like to talk about the y-intercept and the x-intercept. They tell us certain things about what's happening at the line, and they also make things convenient for us when graphing. So it's important to talk about what they are. So we talk about the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Now, we've already talked about the y-intercept. And so when we have a line, so if we have a line crossing like this, the x-intercept is the point where it crosses the x-axis. So it would be this point right here. And the coordinate will always have a y value of 0. The y-intercept is where the point crosses the y-axis. So that would be that point right there. So it will always have a value, an x value of 0. So here would be 0 comma y. And for our other one, it would be x comma 0. Okay, so the way you find the x and y intercept, often if you have an equation, is just to substitute in a 0 for each of those terms to find those 2 points. So let's take a look at this next example. Graphing a line in general form. So we have the general form of this line here. 3x plus 2y minus 18 equals 0. Now, we want to graph that. The most convenient way is to find the x and y intercepts and plot those points. So, to find the x-intercept, we make y equals 0. So we go 3x plus 2 times 0 minus 18 equals 0. And then we rearrange to solve for x. So 3x minus 18 equals 0, because 2 times 0 equals 0. 3x is equal to 18. When I move the 18 over, it becomes positive. Then I divide both sides by 3, so x would equal 6. So my x-intercept is 6 comma 0. So let's plot that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now my y-intercept is where x equals 0. So I'm going to substitute in a 0 for x. So 3 times 0 plus 2y minus 18 equals 0. 3 times 0 would be 0, so I'll get 2y minus 18 equals 0. So 2y is equal to 18, because when I move the 18 over, it becomes positive. Divide both sides by 2. I get y is equal to 9. So my y-intercept is equal to, my x was 0, and my y is 9. So, and I realized that, did I plot that point incorrectly? Yes, I did. That is not there. Now let's plot them. You're probably all saying, Mrs. Finley, I'm confused. X-intercept is 6 comma 0, so we count 6 for our x right there. My apologies. And our y-intercept is 0 comma 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have our 2 points. Once you have 2 points on the line, you just can connect them, and that is your line. Okay, so we've graphed that line using those 2 intercepts to do so. Let's try another one. Why don't you guys try this one? Press pause, try it, and then when you finish, come back and let's see how you did. Okay, we're back. So let's find our x-intercept. So y equals 0. So we take our equation. So x plus 3 times 0 plus 9 equals 0. So x plus 9 equals 0. So x equals negative 9. So our y-intercept would be negative 9 comma 0. Our y-intercept is where x equals 0. So 0 plus 3y plus 9 equals 0. So 3y plus 9 equals 0. 3y is equal to negative 9. We divide both sides by 3. So we get y is equal to negative 3. So our y-intercept is 0, negative 3. Now we're going to plot those two. So let's plot our x-intercept. So negative 9, count all the way down to negative 9, and 0. Did that one right this time. And then our y-intercept, 0, negative 3. Now if we're going to graph those, we just connect those 2 points. Sorry. And I'm hoping you all have rulers at home because I don't, it messes up the screen. So that's how we graph those lines. When it's in general form, it makes it a lot easier. Sometimes you will get points that have fractions or decimals, like you might get 1.5, etc. And you're just going to eyeball that, or you might find a different point. But for here, we're using the x and y intercepts to graph. Okay? All right, moving on. Example 3, determine the slope of line given its equation. So, in general form. So, if we want to figure out the equation or the slope of a line, but we have the equation in general form, what we need to do is we need to rearrange this so that it is in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So we're just moving things around. Once we've done that, then we use the value for m to tell us our slope. So let's see what happens. So if I want it in the form y is equal to mx plus b, what I need to do is I need to get y on one side by itself and use that. Now I'm also going to mention that mx plus b equals y. Those are identical. So don't worry about which side the y is on as long as the y is by itself. So here we've got 3x minus 2y minus 16 equals 0. I have my 2y, I want to get the y by itself, so I'm going to move it over to the other side. So when I do that, I'll get 3x minus 16. When I move the y over to the other side, negative 2y becomes positive 2y. Now I want to get rid of that 2 in front of the y. So I'm going to divide everything by 2 because I want to get y by itself like it is in the y equals mx plus b form. So when I do that, I get 3 over 2x minus 8 equals y. Now again, doesn't matter which side, if it helps you to rearrange it and write it as y is equal 3 halves x minus 8, that's fine. Now from this equation, I know that m is my slope, and it's 3 over 2, and that's what it's asking us to find. Okay, so let's try the next one. If you want to try it on your own and then see what I do, you can press pause and then come back. So here we have, again, we're going to get y by itself, 5x plus 12. I'm going to move the minus 2y to the other side, and it becomes positive 2. And then we're going to divide everything by 2 so that we get y all by itself. When we do that, I get 5 over 2x plus 6 equals y. And again, you can switch sides if you're more comfortable with that. And from this, I get my slope is equal to 5 over 2. Put that in a nice box because that's what we were looking for. And that'll help your teacher find it. Okay. Now, hopefully that makes sense to you. It's just rearranging formulas. These are skills that you should have. You've been doing this for a while, so it should be something you're able to do. Graphing a horizontal and vertical line. What we're noticing, well, let's just take a look and we'll see what happens. We've talked about horizontal and vertical lines briefly a couple of lessons ago. So let's see what happens. So I have 2y minus 4 equals 0. If I rearrange this to find values for y, what I'll notice is that y is equal to 4, or 2y equals to 4, and then y is equal to 2. Now there's no x value. So no x value means that y equals 2 always. Okay, no matter what x. So if I'm going to graph that, it means no matter what x is, y is equal to 2. And that will give us our horizontal line. So slope equals 0. So because it's the rise over run, it's 0 over infinity, it's going to be equal to 0 always. Okay? And that's the key with horizontal lines. Now here I have 4x plus 20 equals 0, so rearrange that. 4x plus 20 equals 0. Move the 20 over, becomes negative 20. Divide both sides by 4. I get x is equal to negative 5. Okay? No y value means y equals negative 5 always. Boy, I'm getting carried away there. X Mrs. Finley has a writing utensil problem. X equals negative 5 always. Okay? So what that means is that along the x equals negative 5, we draw a nice vertical line. So the slope, we say in this case, is undefined because it's you're dividing by 0, right? So this is for a vertical line, and this is for a horizontal line. Horizontal line, okay? So just take a look. If you get one of those equations where just y is equal to a number or x is equal to a number, just remember that that means a situation where you're going to have either a horizontal or vertical line, and think through which one. If you plot them, it will tell you that. Okay, so this is this lesson. Our homework, page 365, 1, 2, 3, ACGH, 4, 6, 7, and 10. And again, if you had any questions, email myself or your teacher, and we'll help you out with that. You can always rewind the video and watch certain sections over again.